Hello, we are reading in A Course in Miracles, CE edition, chapter 1, Principles of Miracles, page 12. 20. Miracles rest on the law and order of eternity, not on the arch of time. And 17 says, see cameo for an example of the shock effect. A miracle reawakens the awareness that the spirit and not the body is the altar of truth. This is the recognition that leads to the healing power of the miracle. Now I'm going to shift, if you'll just bear with me. Your abilities will be very useful when they come under the involuntary control rather than the involuntary lack of control. Following the right involuntary guide will enable you to recognize both physical and spiritual dangers, and will provide the means for avoiding each of them in the most efficient way. This is a case in which the end does justify the means. And I'm going to shift this up so we can read 18. The idea here is that our abilities, which seem to not be under our control, should be placed under the control of the right involuntary guide, probably a reference to God or Jesus. Under this guidance, our abilities will then naturally alert us to dangers to our body and dangers to our spiritual progress, and will also guide us efficiently to avoid these dangers. It is only when means and ends are not of the same order of reality that there is fear. This fear arises out of the inescapable awareness which you were given by God for all time, that only the appropriate means can work for the different kinds of ends you must accomplish before you can achieve your one end. This awareness is a built-in check which was necessary if you were to use the temporary expedient of time usefully. While there is time, communion and bread are both necessary. Without either, you feel deprived, and you cannot escape this by confusing the two. All depression and all fear and embarrassment ultimately stem from this confusion. 19. The essence of this very difficult paragraph is that we should not confuse the spiritual level and the physical level. So to me, that's my body in this world with my mind. We should not think that physical bread can satisfy our need for spiritual communion. Let me repeat that. We should not think that physical bread can satisfy our need for spiritual communion, nor that communion can satisfy our need for physical bread. That would amount to using a means belonging to one level to seek an end belonging to another level. When we do that, we feel fear. This fear comes from an inbuilt awareness of which means are appropriate for which ends. This awareness is what allows us to use time properly, in a way that ultimately brings us to our one end. 22. Miracles are natural expressions of total forgiveness. Through miracles, you affirm your acceptance of God's forgiveness by extending it to others. The second step is inherent in the first, because light cannot tolerate darkness. Light, by definition, dispels darkness automatically. And 20, second step, extension of forgiveness to others. First step, acceptance of forgiveness. And I need to go over here to ourselves under the line. So the second step is extension of forgiveness to others. The first step is acceptance of forgiveness ourselves. And I just reread what was on the previous page. Thus, the second step is inherent in the first because light cannot tolerate darkness. Means that once you accept the light of forgiveness into your life, it naturally wants to extend out to others because it cannot tolerate, in the good sense, the darkness in them and wants to shine it away. Alrighty. Now we are at the top of this page. I'm used to using my phone and I'm using my iPad, so thank you for your patience with me. And I didn't pray in, so did I? I did not pray in. Miracles are associated with fear only because of the fallacy that darkness can hide. People believe that what they cannot see does not exist, and their physical eyes cannot see in the dark. This is a very primitive solution and has led to a denial of the spiritual eye, which always depends on light. And we'll go ahead and read 21. This is the first reference to the spiritual eye, which is defined later as true vision, and is eventually called the eyes of Christ. It is a spiritual faculty in us that is able to directly see the holiness in ourselves and others. However, it also sees our inner darkness, the defilement of the altar. Okay. So, and then, however, remembering the biblical statement, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. And that's 22. The final sentence is a reference to Proverbs 15:3. We think this somewhat opaque paragraph means this. We mistakenly think we can successfully hide our dark... I knew that was going to happen. We mistakenly think we can successfully hide our darkness. And it says, we think this means this. And this would be the editor of this book. So I would say that this is Robert Perry and the editors of this book, whoever put this book together, which I know Robert Perry is one of. So we think this somewhat opaque paragraph means this. We mistakenly think we can successfully hide our darkness. The best way to hide it, we believe, is to make sure it is never seen, since at that point it will seem as if it doesn't even exist. So how can we make sure our darkness remains unseen? Well, our physical eyes don't work when the lights are out, so perhaps the spiritual eye, which is what sees our inner darkness, works the same way. Perhaps it too can't see when the lights are out. Since the miracle is what brings the light, we just need to keep the miracle away from us. If we keep its light, we assume the spiritual eye will not have the light by which to see, and thus will never see our inner darkness. That darkness will then remain undisturbed and intact. Yet this attempt is ultimately futile, because as the final sentence says, the spiritual eye is in every place, beholding the evil and the good. Our darkness cannot hide. And I'm going to pause there and we can pray, because you can pray anytime. You don't have to do it in the beginning. Close your eyes. Dear God, if left to my own devices, my perception will be skewed. I surrender to you everything I think and feel. Please take my past, plan my future, send your spirit to redeem my mind that I might be set free. May I be your channel, God, and serve the world. Please help me to set aside everything I think I know about everything, this book and my reading, and you and myself and others. Please allow me to have an open mind for the experience you want me to have, to see your truth. I love you, God. Amen. Okay, thank you. All right, so now we'll pick up. We are in 22 and reading paragraph, well, it's not paragraph 4, but section 4. There are two stages, well, I guess it is paragraph 4. There are two stages, one lower and one higher, which are involved in the escape from darkness. The first is the recognition that darkness cannot hide. This usually does entail fear. The second is that there is nothing you want to hide, even if you could. This brings escape from fear. And here, haha, just kidding, I'm sorry. I'm a little loopy. As soon as you have completely entered the second phase, you will not only willing to enter into communion, but will also understand peace and joy. Your commitment is not yet total. That is why you still have more to learn than to teach. When your equilibrium stabilizes, you can teach as much as you learn. This will give you the proper sense of balance. Meanwhile, remember that no effort is wasted. No effort is wasted. No effort is absolutely ever wasted. This may be a reference to a well-known line from the Bhagavad Gita. No effort is wasted and no gain is ever lost when on this path. Even a little practice will shelter you from the sorrow and protect you from the greatest fear. We say this because of the emphasis Jesus places on no effort is wasted, the injunction to remember, as if the saying is already known. And the fact that the saying is repeated 3 more times, see Cameo 15 and also text chapter 9, section 2, 3, 1, and 8. Unless you remember this, you cannot avail yourself of my efforts, which are limitless. And we are reading through section 23. So I think that's where we stopped. Oh no, we're not done. I apologize. That was 22. All right. 6. The biblical teaching that if you are ashamed of me before men, I will be ashamed of you before God is interpreted as a threat only as long as you remain at the first stage, 24. See Mark 8:38. Whosoever shall be ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him shall also the Son of Man be ashamed, when he cometh in the glory of his Father with the holy angels. And Matthew 10:33, but whosoever shall deny me before men, him I will also deny before my Father which is in heaven. What it really means is that if you are ashamed of me or embarrassed by love, you will project, and therefore make it impossible for me to reach you. 25. Oops, wrong page. And 25 says you will project your being ashamed of Jesus, which stems from being embarrassed by your love for him, onto him and perceive him as being ashamed of you, because that could never, never, never be true. Make every effort you can not to do this. I will help you as much as you will let me. 23. Miracles make time and tide wait for all men. 26. This is a reversal of the saying, time and tide wait for no man, which is associated with the old story of King Canute. As the story goes, he sits on the beach and orders the tide to recede, to show even that the king can't turn back the tide, since only God has that power. They can heal the sick and raise the dead, because you yourself made death and taxes and can abolish both. Note that tax also means strain. 27. This is a reversal of the famous Benjamin Franklin quotation, "In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes." 2. You are a miracle. God creates only that which one who is of surpassing excellence or merit, dictionary definition of miracles. You are a miracle. God creates only that which or one who is of surpassing excellence or merit. You are capable of this kind of creation too, being in the image and likeness of your own Creator. 28. Genesis 1:26, and God said, "Let us make man in our image after our likeness." The logic in the above reference is that if you were created in the likeness of your Creator, then you can create like He did. Anything else is only your own nightmare and does not exist. Only the creations of light are real. You are wholly lovely. You are wholly lovely, a perfect shaft of pure light. Before your loveliness, the stars stand transfixed and bow to the power of your will. What do children know of their creation, except what their Creator tells them? You were created above the angels because your role involves creation as well as protection. 29. This statement is a reversal of Psalm 8:5, "For thou hast made him, man, a little lower than the angels." You who are in the image of the Father need bow only to Him, before whom I kneel with you. And that is where we will stop on page 15, I think. Yes. I love you. Thank you for joining with me. You beautiful, beautiful person. I hope you have a beautiful day. And I do not have the reading for day 8. I looked online and I didn't see it, so that's if you're following the Course Companions. And if not, I hope you enjoyed. Love you. Thank you.